Carnival is facing more serious problems than ever before, from unexpected incidents to a worrying rise in crime on board its ships. Could this be the warning sign that passengers should truly start worrying when booking a Carnival cruise? Let's dive deeper into the shocking numbers and the stories behind them.
But before we dive into the main topic, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to help me reach my first milestone of 5,000 subscribers, and like if you find the video useful. It really means a lot and gives me the motivation to keep improving both the content and video editing. Thank you so much. Once again, Carnival Cruise Line has become a name that sparks concern, leading the list of cruise companies with the highest crime rates in 2025. The latest report from the U.S. Department of Transportation (DOT) shows that Carnival continues to hold on to this unwanted crown, a position no passenger ever wants to see their cruise line occupy. The last time Carnival was surpassed was back in the second quarter of 2022, when Royal Caribbean temporarily took the top spot. According to the Cruise Vessel Security and Safety Act, the DOT is required to release quarterly reports on crimes reported to the FBI that occur on cruise ships. And just in the first 3 months of 2025 alone, a total of 48 crimes were documented across all cruise lines, a number that should make anyone who loves ocean travel stop and think. Here's the breakdown by cruise line. Carnival Cruise Line, 12 cases, the highest of all lines. Royal Caribbean, 9 cases. Princess Cruises, 6 cases. Disney Cruise Line, 6 cases. Norwegian Cruise Line, 5 cases. MSC Cruises, 5 cases. Celebrity Cruises, 3 cases. Virgin Voyages, 2 cases. The crimes reported span a wide range: physical assaults resulting in injury, sexual assaults, rapes, and even thefts exceeding $10,000. But what's truly alarming is the fact that sexual assault and rape made up nearly half of all reports, 23 cases in just one quarter. And disturbingly, Carnival once again leads this category with 7 reported incidents in the first quarter of 2025 alone. When you look at these numbers, it's not just statistics anymore. It paints a much darker picture of what's happening behind the scenes of the world's most popular cruise vacations. For many, the idea of stepping on board a cruise ship means fun, adventure, and relaxation. But for some unlucky passengers, these dream vacations have turned into traumatic experiences. The most shocking recent case happened right on Royal Caribbean's Independence of the Seas. 2 passengers, Daniel Mondragon Leal, 37, and Jose Juan Prudencio Diaz, 36, assaulted a 14-year-old boy inside the public steam room. Even more horrifying, Diaz was confirmed to be HIV positive at the time of the assault. Both men are now being held without bail. These are no longer distant, isolated stories. They reveal a harsh truth. Even on luxury cruise ships, where you spend thousands of dollars for a dream vacation, danger can still be lurking. To be fair, crime rates per capita at sea are still lower than in some U.S. states. But think about it. A vacation marketed as safe, joyful, and an escape from reality. Why do such serious crimes still occur? The cold answer is this: alcohol, confined spaces, and predators like Diaz and Leal exploiting that environment. Criminal justice expert Robert McDonald, University of New Haven, once put it plainly: whenever we gather a large number of people, add alcohol, and include individuals who feel freed from their everyday selves, the risk of crime increases. A clear example is the chaotic brawl at Galveston Port after a Carnival ship docked. The result: 24 passengers permanently banned from cruising. Tensions had already flared on board, then spilled ashore in violence. This rising disorder has forced Carnival to tighten passenger rules, as we discussed in a previous video. But Carnival's tougher policies have angered some groups, particularly black passengers, who feel they are being unfairly targeted, leading many to declare they will abandon the cruise line altogether. Carnival and Royal Caribbean, with their enormous fleets and massive ships hosting up to 160,000 passengers, naturally see higher numbers of reported crimes. But they're not the only cruise lines under scrutiny. A recent Newsweek investigation put Disney Cruise Line in the spotlight, exposing a worrying increase in reported assaults on its ships. For years before 2023, Disney typically reported just 1 to 3 incidents per year, a record that supported its reputation as one of the safest, most family-friendly cruise operators in the industry. But that trend has changed dramatically. In 2023, reports rose to 15 cases, then 18 in 2024. And in just the first quarter of 2025, 6 more incidents have already been recorded. Although these numbers remain small compared to the millions of passengers Disney serves annually, the sudden surge has alarmed both regulators and travelers. It's a sobering reminder. Crime can happen anywhere, even in environments designed to feel safe and family-oriented. For cruise passengers, the lesson is crystal clear. Enjoy the magic of your voyage, but never let your guard down. By now, you might be feeling a little uneasy. Maybe even asking yourself, should I still go on a cruise? Don't panic. I'm going to share some very practical solutions that will allow you and your family to enjoy the trip of a lifetime without living in constant fear. Solution number 1, control your alcohol intake. Statistics show that most fights and assaults on cruise ships are directly connected to alcohol. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have a drink, but you need to know your limit. And more importantly, if you do drink, never wander around alone. Always stick with friends or family. Staying alert can save you from a lot of trouble. Solution number 2, avoid deserted areas. Think about it. These ships carry thousands of passengers, but they also have endless quiet corners, like hallways late at night, saunas, or even an empty deck under the stars. These are the places where risks are higher. If you can, move around in pairs or groups. 2 people are always safer than 1. Solution number 3, protect children and teenagers. Many parents assume cruise ships are automatically safe, so they let their kids roam freely. But the truth is, bad actors can still blend into the crowd. If you're traveling with kids, keep a close eye on them, especially at the pool, play areas, or teen clubs. Young children should never wander too far on their own. Solution number 4, save the ship's emergency contact number. Most cruise lines have their own security teams, but not everyone knows how to reach them quickly. On day 1, write down or save the emergency extension in your phone. If something happens, acting fast can make all the difference. Solution number 5, know your rights. Under the CVSSA law, cruise lines are required to report crimes to the FBI. If you or someone you know becomes a victim, make sure the incident is officially documented. You also have the right to request contact with law enforcement. This isn't just about your safety, it helps protect future passengers too. Final solution, choose cruise lines that are transparent about safety. Not all cruise lines are equal. Some have stronger security policies, publicly report crime data, and handle incidents more responsibly. Before you book, take a few minutes to do some research. A little preparation can go a long way toward keeping your vacation trouble-free. And here's the key takeaway. None of this is meant to scare you away. It's about making you more aware and prepared. Because cruises, at the end of the day, are still one of the most amazing vacations you can take. Just enjoy it, but enjoy it smart. Scams are every traveler's worst nightmare, and cruise passengers are no exception. In 2024 alone, over 15 million cruisers passed through U.S. ports, making them prime targets for opportunistic scams that can ruin your vacation before it even begins. But what exactly are these cruise port scams? How do they trick passengers? And most importantly, how can you avoid falling victim to them on your next trip? Cruise ship scams encompass a wide range of fraudulent activities targeting passengers, from fake bookings and bogus free cruise offers to deceptive onboard or online vacation share promotions. However, a particularly troubling subset of scams has been on the rise recently: portside transportation fraud, especially at major U.S. cruise terminals like Miami, Long Beach, and Galveston. At these ports, disembarking passengers are often approached by fake taxi drivers or rideshare operators offering inflated or completely fraudulent transportation services. Carnival Cruise Line reported several such incidents in 2025, prompting the company to cooperate with port authorities to strengthen oversight. While there is no official count of victims, passenger forums and local news outlets describe the trend as increasing, with dozens of complaints at each port every year. Recently, from Long Beach to Miami, multiple passengers have reported being targeted by individuals posing as legitimate rideshare or taxi drivers, often charging far above normal rates. One traveler in Long Beach said a port security officer warned them that these offers were scams. Meanwhile, another passenger in Miami reported paying $150 for a ride from the port of Miami to the airport, a trip that typically costs around $40. although Carnival passengers sailing from the West Coast have urged the cruise line to boost efforts in protecting guests from fraudulent transportation schemes. Similar scams continue to occur at ports and airports worldwide. This underscores a difficult reality. Such scams cannot be completely eliminated, and they're becoming more common as global cruise travel demand surges. That's why travelers themselves need to be proactive, equipping themselves with the right knowledge and precautions to avoid being scammed and losing money unnecessarily while on vacation. First, always pre-book your transportation. Don't wait until you're standing outside the terminal, surrounded by drivers, calling for your attention. Instead, arrange your ride ahead of time through verified apps like Uber, Lyft, or even your cruise line's official shuttle service. Booking early means you'll skip the chaos and avoid inflated prices from pushy drivers. Next, when you arrive at the port, proceed directly to the official pickup areas. Look for signs marked authorized taxi or rideshare pickup. Legit taxis always have visible licenses, clear signage, and official markings. If you're not sure which ones are real, ask a port security guard or stop by the tourism info booth. They'll tell you exactly what to look for and who to avoid. When your ride begins, double-check the meter and the route. Always make sure the driver starts the meter immediately or that you've agreed on a fixed price before leaving. A quick glance at Google Maps can help too. Pull up the route, share your screen with the driver, and follow along in real time. That way, there's no room for scenic detours that lead to surprise bills. If someone comes up to you outside the terminal offering special deals on rides or tours, just walk away. It's one of the oldest tricks in the book. In fact, ports like Miami have posted warnings reminding passengers to avoid anyone who approaches them first. When it's time to pay, use smart payment methods. Stick with credit cards or in-app payments, since they offer protection if something goes wrong. And finally, trust your instincts. If anything feels off, a driver acting suspicious, a price that seems too good to be true, don't hesitate to report it. You can alert the port police or head back inside the terminal to notify guest services. For broader scams, file a report at the Federal Trade Commission's official site. Of course, scams at cruise ports don't just involve transportation services. There are plenty of other tricks designed to separate travelers from their money. If you step off the ship without a clear plan for the day, you're the perfect target for an excursion scam. This scheme often starts with a friendly local, someone working at a small kiosk, or even inside a nearby shop, who enthusiastically tells you about a special local adventure organized independently from the cruise line. These excursions are often much cheaper than the official ones sold on board, but the real cost comes later. During the trip, the driver will take you to places where they earn commissions. Typically, this means a stop at a private factory tour or a local artisan workshop where guests are heavily encouraged to make purchases. Many cruise passengers admit they only bought items just to get the tour over with. By the time you're dropped back at the port, hopefully in time to reboard the ship, you're likely exhausted, short on cash, and carrying a bag full of jewelry or souvenirs you never planned to buy. And it's not only overly friendly locals who can trick you. Sometimes it's the ones who seem helpless. Across the world, many travelers have been duped by strangers on the street claiming to need help just for a second to hold something. Once the item is in your hands, the scam begins. The stranger suddenly insists that you owe them money for the item, claiming you've agreed to buy it. Protesting only makes things worse, as the once friendly scammer may turn aggressive or even threatening. Some cruise passengers have reported feeling intimidated when they refuse to pay. How to avoid being scammed. Never accept any item handed to you by a stranger. The next story involves another type of scam, one that hides behind the promise of a free spa treatment. That brings us back to Royal Caribbean passenger Harry, who ended up spending $10,000 on questionable skincare products. The infamous free facial scam is a well-known scheme targeting cruise passengers around the world. Smooth-talking skincare specialists entice tourists with offers of complimentary treatments. Once you step inside, they begin pointing out supposed flaws in your skin, but not to worry, they claim to have the perfect and very expensive products to fix everything. In Harry's case, things escalated quickly. He said that one salesperson actually grabbed his wife's hand and pulled her into the shop. At first, Harry refused, but the staff convinced his wife to try a quick 10-minute facial. Not wanting to leave her alone, he followed her inside. The employees began applying various creams and even poured them what they called champagne. To escape the high-pressure sales tactics, Harry reluctantly agreed to buy a $200 product just to end the situation. But that was only the beginning of this Portside nightmare. Once the scammers realized they had a potential target, things took a darker turn. As more drinks kept flowing, the sales staff introduced new miracle products, this time claiming they could regrow hair on Harry's bald head. He later admitted that, in hindsight, the claim was absurd, and that's when he started suspecting there was more than just champagne in those glasses. The lead salesperson then brought out a strange flashlight-like device, claiming it would enhance the treatment's effects. By the time Harry and his wife finally left, after agreeing to a so-called special deal, $10,000 had been charged across 2 of their credit cards. Dazed and confused, the couple stumbled back to their ship, Freedom of the Seas, carrying bags filled with overpriced skincare products and gadgets. Harry later said they shared the story with their adult children on board, but didn't immediately report the suspected drugging to Royal Caribbean. They filed an official complaint with the cruise line weeks later, a delay that proved costly. By that time, any evidence of the scam had long disappeared. The shop remained open, and Harry had already brought all the products home, even though he never wanted them. Unsurprisingly, his bald head stayed bald, and his wife's face showed no miraculous transformation. None of the products worked as promised, but that $10,000 charge was painfully real. Since then, Harry has tried every possible way to get his money back. He filed a credit card dispute, but Chase rejected it because the receipt clearly stated no refunds. All sales final, he also submitted a complaint to the Florida Attorney General, alleging that the merchant had exploited elderly customers. However, since the scam occurred in the Bahamas, U.S. authorities had no jurisdiction to intervene.